Leslie, and I am just really into art and creativity. I'm actually a school counselor and working on expressive arts therapy and learning how to do that in groups and stuff. But anyway, I just share whatever craft creation I'm just excited about recently. And so my last video, I tried needle felting, and when I started watching all these videos of needle felting, of course, then I started seeing all this wet felting, and I remembered, oh yeah, I did a wet felting activity like 14 years ago or something, and I don't have the vase with me, but I made a vase and it went around like a glass piece. I have no idea like how I did it, and it turned out like really decently. But anyway, I connected some different ideas together because I've really been wanting to create something functional. I love art, but I also like art that is functional, that you can see every day. Okay, so here is my awesome idea. I thought I wanted to combine creating something with wet felting, okay, maybe a bag of some kind, because I have, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I have this super cute bag. Look at this bag from Natural Life. I love it so much, and I know they're becoming really popular right now, and I was like, how can I combine something like this bag with wet felting and my therapy practice, or thinking of how to incorporate therapeutic ideas and how to make a therapeutic bag. And so that's when I came up with the idea to wet felt my own bag. And I'm super excited about it. I like how it turned out, although like I will also show you that when you create something for the first time, there are lots of things where you realize, I wish I would have done that differently. And so there might be some journey and progress in doing different bags and coming up with different things for these bags. So this is going to be my therapy bag. My idea was that I would create on the strap some type of fidget. This fidget is about interconnecting these little bands. I wanted to incorporate a charm on each bag, and inside the bag I wanted to put a card that has like an affirmation with a different movement technique if you are needing movement to break up some regulation and to cope with things. Sometimes movement can be very therapeutic. Then on the back of that card is going to be a meditation. So it'll be like a QR code to one of my meditations. I've got tons of meditations. But it'll be something like really quick, how to do a specific breathing technique or something like that. Then I will also have a felted journal piece in it that like will be a cover for like a really small journal that you can take out and replace as you need to. But my problem with like creating all of that was that I sent a gift to somebody, and it's my little story about it. So I sent a gift to somebody, and then when I was ordering this, it ended up shipping to them. They live like an hour away, so finding a way to get that and like finish this aspect of the video just like did not happen, which is fine. Anyway, I can share with you what my idea was. So I'll have like a little journal in there, and then I'll have like a list of different activities. And so if you follow me on this account and Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or wherever you follow me, I'll be trying to post like a little bit about this bag each time, how you use the bag, and then one kind of therapeutic activity that goes along with the bag. Yeah, and then like this little charm smells. So you put like a little essential oil on there, and then you can do the fidget braid, and I added this little button to the end of it. And although I need to like put it back together. All right, so this is my tutorial kind of showing you what it took to actually make this project work and how I got it to go from just little scraps of wool into this cute, functional which this is one of my problems. It's a little bit hard to get out. Little bag, see? Okay. You can use bubble wrap as a resist, but I just found some random bubble wrap. It had holes in it, and this is probably way bigger than you're supposed to use. And so I just, tried it anyway. So I decided to put down a couple of pieces of different kinds of felt. I got this felt at Hobby Lobby, so I'm not sure exactly what kind it is. I learned later on that merino wool is the best wool for wet felting. I tried to make kind of a pattern with it, although it doesn't really end up in this pattern, and that wasn't necessarily my intention. It's easier for my brain to comprehend patterns in my head. So that's what I did. So when you first lay it out, I just did up and down, and then I started going in with this like crossways, so that the more of different directions, the more they're going to combine together, or at least that's what I've learned in wet felting, even though this is the only project I've done. Well, the last one I did do one in like 14 years ago, but I didn't really know what I was doing then either, and can't remember at all what I had done. So I just laid out these different colors. I wanted to go with like a nature landscape, I guess. Not really landscape, but just nature-esque colors. So that's what I did. So here I'm getting my water bottle out and spraying it. I realized after squirting this that it was just going to take too much for the water to come out squirting like this. Then I put on some soap, just some Dawn dish soap, although that may not be the right kind of soap. Yeah, and then I just decided, let me just pour this water on here and get it all wet. Then you just kind of mush all of that together and rub it really, really well. And that's what I'm doing here, just trying to combine all of those fibers together, because when you put hot water on it, it will open up the pores and help them like grasp one another. Anyway, that's just what I've heard. I don't know. Then I found all these little spots with holes in it after I did that. And I'm going back through and adding more felt to try to squeeze in and layer it. I wanted to get an even layer of the felt on there, although even when I finished it, it was not completely even. Of course, since this is my first, I'm going to have a lot of mistakes. So it is what it is. That's part of the learning process. So I'm just testing things out and seeing where things go. And just randomly put different colors down in different directions. And here I am smashing it again. You can see how the soap is making the suds come up. And I didn't know exactly how I was going to make this. So now I'm putting some some netting on top, because that's supposed to help keep the fibers from sticking to your hands, although it wasn't really that problematic for me. Then you roll it up, and you're supposed to roll it like 100 times, and then I laid it out because, rolling is kind of boring, so I wasn't going to put you through that. And then I wanted to add a little bit of color to it. And so I decided to go with some yellow and red just to add a little pop of color, like brightness to it. And I think it really did kind of help it have some transition in it. And then I tried to add these other like pieces, because you can add other like decorative things to it. But it didn't work out. Like you'll see here, I'm trying to figure this out. It was like some different ribbons, and that one that has like the small little frayed pieces around it, that one actually worked better, but I think that was only because some of the felt got on top of it and kind of secured it in there in place. But the other ones, they don't end up working out. But here I am, I'm trying it, let's experiment and go for it. And I put this netting back over it. I don't know why, I guess thinking that that's going to be helpful. I don't know if it is or not. So I just roll it up and then move the towel out of the way and then just start rolling it. I usually mostly just use that towel to soak up a lot of the water that was on there. And here I am doing it 100 more times, rotating it, squishing it. And it was kind of fun. It's kind of therapeutic. You can get out some anger this way. You know, I'm all about some therapy over here. And it was kind of fun. So my next idea for this therapy bag was to create some kind of charm on it, hanging from it, sort of like a keychain would hang. You know, you see different bags that have little charms on it. So because I was going with this nature theme, I decided to make a tree branch, like the stump of a tree, I guess you could say. And so I decided to use this little template to make a circle, and I'm just using my needle to needle felt it together, and just keep adding more and more wool because I wanted to make it semi-thick. So that's what I'm doing, really trying to get around those edges. This is sort of me just kind of experimenting with this template and how to actually do it because I haven't, used it that many times. And so, just keep stabbing at it. So then I decide to add this darker brown to it, and I'm trying to make the rings of the tree to go around, but every time I was showing this to someone else, they're like, oh, it looks like a cinnamon bun. No, it is not a cinnamon bun, although, if the right circumstances are for me to do it again, maybe it could be a cinnamon bun. And now I'll know how to make a cinnamon bun, but that's not what this is. It is supposed to be a tree, rings for the tree thing. And then now I'm going over the edges to make the bark. And then I missed showing you the rest of that. So I found some other bubble wrap that I think helped. I took away those other pieces that didn't fit. And I did make it into a little pouch. I had folded over part of it. You noticed earlier it shrunk a whole bunch. So that's what it typically does, is it shrinks. So then I try to add more when I'm seeing how uneven some of this is. And then I put in a piece of cardboard to keep those from felting together. Now I'm trying to piece together the sides. This did not work, by the way. Foreshadowing here that did not work. But I'm adding some things, hot water and soap again to see if that will work. I also waited between doing some of this stuff. So if you just keep it all together and wet and keep it in a place where it stays wet, then you can actually come back to it and keep working on it more and more. And that's really helpful. So here I am setting it up again and hoping that those two pieces will combine. I also noticed that some people had used a pool noodle to wrap this around. So this is what I'm experimenting with here. Wrapping it around and trying to roll it 100 more times. I think overall, when I was researching it, they were doing it about 100 sections of rolling it and then kind of checking it, seeing how well it's holding up together. And it wasn't too bad, but I wasn't super happy with it. It started to create an organic shape, and it wasn't, super straight on the sides. So it is what it is. It's fine. So here I'm trying to piece it together, see if it will work. Just playing around with it. And then we're going to try to roll it up and go after it again, see if we can make those connections again.
Woke up this morning with a dream in my mind. Said I finished strong and I'll take my time. Gotta go, yeah, I made that plan. Now I'm working hard with my two hands. It's not about
So you see here, it wasn't connecting well again. So that's why I'm like trying to rub it, checking to make sure that the new layers of things that I've put down are going to combine. Then I decided to add a strap. This is not the best strap in the world. Again, this is my first time doing it. And I don't really know how to sew, but I'm doing this slip stitch and with this green thread. And I'd already sewn the sides together in the same slip stitch look. And I actually kind of like how that turned out. But I'm adding the strap, and I think I did it the wrong direction. I don't know. Then I added these little hair bands, and I'm connecting them into a rope. So this is the fidget of the bag, and that's part of the therapy. I always like to have something in my hand, something to play with and fidget with. So I thought, why not make something that you can interconnect and take it apart and reconnect it just to have something to play with in your hands. And so I sewed each one and then added a button at the bottom, and I like how it turned out. So wool holds oil, and so I added this essential oil to add a smell to it. Okay, we're back. So I hope you really enjoyed that. This is the final project. I showed you kind of at the beginning what it looks like. This is the fidget. So you just kind of loop them inside one another, and they make this cool little pattern. So one of the things that I would like to change, you can see right here, I did a really bad job of pulling this thread through, and it was not all together. I think, and then on the back side, well, I don't really like this strap. First of all, it was just a cheap strap from Walmart. I would prefer to have a thicker strap that's more like this. Although I've got to figure out where to buy my straps. I also am looking at maybe possibly some leather type straps, because I have some different ideas on how I'm going to create them into different fidgets. But for now, one of the things I had hand sewed all of them on. And I think what I would have rather done is used some thread that was closer to this color, and just done a little sewing of this inside here instead, so that it would be a lot more discreet and not look so rough anyway. And then even this, it just looks really bad. But I like the way this turned out on the side. So you can see how I threaded it there. And then I showed you, I would not use this again because it did not actually hold up, see? But some of the felted pieces covered it up. So that's what kept it on there. I will have to look into what are the other kinds of fabrics that you can put on here. There's some other types of wool that is decorative yarn, or they call it art yarn, that you can put on there. And so I've ordered something, and then next time I make a video, it's going to be these I'll show you a picture of it right here, these really cool vessels, and you can learn how to add these little intricate details around it. I thought it was amazing. It's a little class that I'm going to take, and if you're interested in that class, just let me know and I will give you some more information about it. But I found a website called Living Felt, and it provides a bunch of felt that you can order that's more specific to the best kind of wool to do felting with. So that's what I'm going to use, unless I find some other places that sell wool, because it's going to be expensive for me. The class was it was on sale, but it was $30 or something. But the wool that I had to purchase was $50 for the kit. So you can tell it's like adds up to be a very expensive hobby. And so anyway, stay tuned next week for that and how that turns out, and more updates on new bags, as I have lots of different ideas on how I'm going to create different bags. And thank you for watching. If you made it this far, like, subscribe, like, right? Like, if you made it this far, obviously you really enjoyed this video. And I will see you next time. Bye.